So one of my friends is going for a job interview and he asked me if I could give him some lessons on interview technique. And it made me think that I've been through a lot of interviews myself and I've even given interviews. And I think I've got quite a bit to say on the matter. I know a lot of my viewers are early career programmers, so I thought it might be useful if I give you some of my tips for job interviews. So the first thing I'd say is about your attitude. If you're technically good and you're prepared to work hard, you'll be an asset to the company you're going to. So you want to go in with the attitude that you'll be an asset to them and that you're doing them a favour really by interviewing with them. You don't want to be arrogant, but at the same time, I think you always get what you expect. So go in expecting to get the job and try and keep that in mind. So you're not there begging for a job, you're there giving them an opportunity to give you a job. You're technically good, you're prepared to work hard, you're the best candidate for the job, and forget about your competition. You know, in any company, 90% of the work gets done by 10% of the people. So if you're going to be one of those 10%, you'll be an asset to the company that you're going to work for. I really believe in all walks of life, people know whether you like them or not, and you know whether people like you or not. So try and be friendly to the interviewer and treat them as a friend. They're there, they want to give you a job, they want to give somebody a job, and you are the right candidate for the job. So go in with the right attitude. Remember, not arrogant, but confident. And don't worry about imposter syndrome. You are good enough for the job. They're interviewing you, so they've looked at your qualifications. They think you're a suitable candidate for the level they're looking for. You're not going to go in and be a superstar right from day one, but you're going to go in, you're going to work hard. You deserve that job. Okay, so it's worth knowing how interviews work. Usually in big companies, they'll have kind of person specifications for the job they're looking for, and they usually have certain characteristics that they're looking for. Now, they'll want to keep an audit trail because you can actually take legal action against the company if you feel that they didn't give you the job unfairly. So they'll have an audit trail and they'll have the specification for the person that they're looking for. Usually they'll have some criteria, things such as good communication, technical knowledge, all different things that they're looking for, and they'll plan which characteristics they want for the candidate for that job. These will usually be weighted, so obviously if you can't program and it's a programming job, then that's a very important characteristic and you're not going to get the job if you can't code. But other things like communication skills and ability to get on with the team and all these different things, they're going to be looking for these characteristics. And when they ask you a question, usually those questions are going to be matched with those competencies that they're looking for. So when you're asked questions, it's best to give an answer and try and think what sort of competency are they looking for. So they might ask questions like, tell me about a time when a project wasn't going to plan. What they might be looking for is, can you cope under stress? And they're going to mark you on your answers. So try and think, what competencies is this question asking and how can I answer to get the maximum results? Now, never lie in an interview. Never lie about anything. Certainly not technical things, and don't exaggerate your knowledge. People that are interviewing you may have been working with the technologies that you're claiming to know. They may have been working with it for years, day in, day out. They know these technologies and they're easily going to be able to detect if you're exaggerating your skills. So for example, I don't know Angular. I know React, I don't know Angular. If I was going for a job where Angular was one of the skills they were looking for, and I was asked, what is your Angular experience? I would have to say I don't have any Angular experience. I know it's a front-end technology. Front-end technology I'm used to is React. I feel that I've got transferable skills, so there's probably things that match up between Angular and React. I believe that I can take my React knowledge and apply it to Angular and learn the way of doing things in Angular. That I think would be a perfectly good answer. Now, of course, the technologies that you don't know, don't be put off by them. You don't want to apply for a job where if you know everything that the job's looking for, that's all very well and good. But there may be some missing skills, but you don't know how easy those skills might be to learn. They might be thinking if you're a React programmer and you're coming for an Angular job, it'll take a couple of months for you to switch over. Maybe it'll take 6 months, maybe it'll take years. So it may well be that a skill that you're lacking can be easily made up for. So don't worry too much, but always tell the truth about what your experience is. Now, I went to a job interview once. I did actually get the job, but I had it on my CV at the time. I was young at the time. I had in the hobbies section that I like cinema. And the truth is, I like going to the cinema and watching like Arnold Schwarzenegger films or something like that. But the guy interviewing me was an amateur filmmaker, and he said, "Oh, you like cinema?" And I was, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, do you like sort of Japanese cinema and this director and that director?" And I was like, "Oh, to be honest, I don't know, what you're talking about." And he was like, "Oh, what was the last film you saw?" And I think it was Terminator 2, and it was all a bit embarrassing when we it sort of came out from my CV that I put that I like cinema, but actually I was just sort of a consumer of American action movies, and it wasn't really a something that I could describe as a hobby. But that's a funny story, but that's true. Now, if you're given a test during the interview, try and remember that the test isn't necessarily there to the person who gets the highest score in the interview is not necessarily going to get the job. The test is really there to screen people out that don't know what they're doing. So if it's a programming test, they may give you a question about a bubble sort or some fizz buzz problem or something like that. If you don't know how to do it, just try and think it through and just try and demonstrate to the interviewer that you've got that analytical mind and that you can think it through. You may well not be able to do the problem, but don't be afraid of it. Just give it a go. um, if you're talking to the interviewers whilst you're doing the test, just talk through your thinking process and show them that you're a programmer by the way that you think. Don't worry about the test. Just you should enjoy it, really. You should enjoy the chance to be able to show off the way you think so that you can demonstrate your skills. Now, difficult questions. If you get a difficult question, particularly if it's leading you into a negative place, try and turn it around and make it positive. So you might get a question, for example, what are your weaknesses, or tell me about when something went wrong, or something along these lines. See if you can turn it around. So if we think of, say, what are your weaknesses, you could say my weakness is that I don't like saying no. So if I'm asked to do something, I'll always accept the work. Sometimes this means that I get overloaded with work and I have to prioritize and be aware of deadlines and things like this. But it's kind of a negative. It's a weakness, so you have to give something negative. But in saying that you don't like saying no, you're demonstrating that you do like saying yes and you like taking on new work and you throw yourself into your new work and you're conscientious about it. But you do worry about deadlines and you do worry about priorities. So you're giving them a lot of positives back in exchange for the negative that they've asked for. Think through the difficult questions that you might get. Go online, do some research about difficult interview questions, and just try and get some preparation ready so that if these difficult questions come, you're ready for it. Now, at the end of the interview, you'll probably be asked, do you have any questions for us? Now, it would be a bad last impression to not have a question prepared. So I would suggest you pre-prepare some questions. A question about the company, a question about the teams, a question about the onboarding. Now, these things may come up as you're going through the interview anyway, so don't just have one or two questions prepared. See if you can have 5 or 6 questions prepared so that however the interview goes, you can get that question in at the end. And make sure it's a question that shows that you're interested in the job. And also you might want to ask a question about onboarding or how you'll fit into teams to kind of put that picture in their head that you're coming to work for them. And finally, I'd say if you do get the job, that's great, go for it. If you don't get the job, don't be too discouraged. Sometimes the job you're going for is actually a promotion for somebody already in the company, and the person specification that they've worked out for the job exactly matches that person, and it really all they're doing is an internal promotion, but you think it's a real job to go for, and the odds are against you right from the start. Um, so don't be discouraged. It is really a matter of numbers. Some interviews are going to go better than others. Some jobs you're going to be offered and actually you're not going to want because you've got a better offer somewhere else. Other jobs you're going to get and you're going to be happy. So those are just a few of my tips. I hope you found it helpful, and good luck in your interview. And thanks for watching. By the way, I'm currently working on a sort of, I think it's going to be like a 10-part series on Kubernetes, and writing Kubernetes microservices with Java Spring. So if you're interested in that, then subscribe and put the notifications on, and that series will be coming soon. Thanks for watching.